We have very special guest in the studio with us today, David Preziosi from the Texas Historical Foundation, or actually the president and CEO, and Lane Transou, who is the Southeast Texas representative for the Texas Historical Foundation. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having us here today.
Yeah, we are so thrilled to have you in the studio, and you have a special presentation for us.
Sure. We're very happy to support the Bayoulands production with a grant of $1,600 for the work that y'all are doing to talk about the history of this area.
Yeah, the Bayoulands program is, we're going on 10 years. We're almost in our 10th season, and so that has been a program that has focused on the people and places of Southeast Texas, and it's a 1-hour radio show once a month, and then we air conversations from that series on the podcast, and so you can listen to it now. And we have it's a mixed bag, really, on there. As I'm sure you are, very familiar with, Texas history and Texas culture is so varied. So many stories to tell that we really have an endless supply of people to talk to, and places to visit. So thank you very much for your support.
Definitely. It's always fun to support projects that help get the history of Texas out to the people, and because it is such a fascinating, diverse history, as you mentioned, and there's so many characters in Texas history that it's so fun to learn about them, and then also the places that we have, the historic places we have here in Texas as well.
Yeah, and everybody will come at it from a different place. There's some hardcore history buffs, and then there's lay people that maybe their junior high kid is studying a particular subject in school, and they can, Bayoulands is a resource for them, or even college students, or people who have maybe a particular interest in a certain subject. You can search that on the podcast and find out all the stories that we have that relate to that.
What's really interesting about Texas history and what you were talking about, a lay person, not that hardcore.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to get hardcore.
It doesn't.
In fact, when you associate something that you can go out and look at, much like what you were showing in your Bayoulands presentation, it really works to get people dug into that history.
Yeah, that you don't know what you don't know, and so once you know that there's this endless plethora of fascinating stories and fascinating people, just as an example, Arthur Stillwell. One of our recent stories was about the Dutch in Southeast Texas, and it's kind of a unique, there's not another Dutch settlement in Texas. This is a unique situation. And it was because of Arthur Stillwell building the railroad down to Port Arthur and running out of money, basically, in Arkansas. And so he turned to Dutch financiers to fund the rest of the railroad, and that's what brought the Dutch to this area. So there's so many fascinating stories about that. I think one of the great things about our grant program is that we support a variety of projects, from just strictly building preservation to archaeological investigation. We support the conservation of artifacts and documents and records that have to do with Texas history, as well as exhibits and publications and films that tell the story of Texas. Yeah. Well, we appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you.